You eat
shit
liver?
is like
I don't trust you.
acid.
I like
I never
liver.
eat
You like
Growing
liver?
up, I did
I don't
like
trust
liver.
you.
Hell no.
I don't think I had liver.
Liver
Every
is
time I've eaten liver, I
cooked
throw
liver,
up.
though?
When you cook
I
the
throw
liver,
up,
yeah,
yes,
you
every
liked
time.
it.
I used to bust that.
Soup it
I
up.
didn't want to be in the house when they
Liver
cooked.
and dumpling.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Jam. It's JJ, AB, Allen, Matt, the way it always is. How we doing?
It always is.
It's
Yes,
a little
sir.
different today.
Yeah, it's actually
Little
not the way it always is. Again, we will never get back to the normal intro, especially not after the last episode. But go ahead.
Look, right? So we got a comment the other day, and it was about unconditional love. And I think we talked like maybe 6 or 7 minutes about it, real briefly, because it was at the end of the episode, right? Because of that, though, not only did we get a few spinoff comments, but we also had a comment section full of people agreeing and disagreeing, right? As you know, we love that. Thank y'all for, you know what I'm saying, jam talks in the comments and shit.
Hashtag Jam Talks if you want us to read your comment.
On bro.
And you might even get a topic.
Yeah, you might get an episode made about it, because realistically, that's what this is, right? We're talking about unconditional love, family dynamics, those things, right?
We're not about to talk about shit until you subscribe
True. Tell them again, JJ.
or like. What do y'all do?
Oh, share. Hit the notification
and
bell.
share. All of the above.
Hit the bell, hit the motherfucking, hit every button.
Personals. Hold on. Personal page.
Personals.
JJ.
J. William J.
Matthew.
What you on, Matt?
The whole studio.
AB the already is easy.
Okay,
answer it.
but yeah, let's get into it, because I feel like.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
Where
hold
can they
on.
find us?
Oh, what, the
Oh
platform?
yeah. Where
Where
can they find us, Alan?
Acast.
Okay.
Prime.
Okay.
Spotify.
Okay.
TikTok.
Okay.
Twitter.
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay.
Help me.
Instagram.
Yeah. iHeart.
Yeah.
Apple Podcast.
Audible podcast.
Acast.
Audible.
Do we-
Where we on?
I don't know if we're on.
All the above.
All the above.
So whatever it's saying in the link.
Netflix is crazy.
Netflix, maybe, hopefully.
Give us a deal.
Click the click the
throw it in
link link tree, and you'll find all the platforms you can find a Jam podcast.
Indeed.
let's go ahead.
Indeed. We're gonna get into it though, right? So talking about unconditional love, we basically talked about. I think the prompt question was, do we all believe in unconditional love? I think first off, let's get everybody's points, right? Let's get everybody's points of where they are, just to refresh some of y'all memory, but also, you know what I'm saying, refresh some of our memory. Where are y'all points on unconditional love? How y'all feeling? What y'all dealing with?
I don't believe that shit.
Nah.
What have you been through?
Not a goddamn dude.
I don't know. I think where I fall on it is I think that I don't believe in it, because I think every bit of love is conditional. I don't think that conditional means that like you can shut it off. But I do think that it like varies, and it should vary from circumstance to circumstance, and that sometimes it makes sense to have a boundary there where maybe you're not talking to somebody, or you're not, and whether or not that means you love them, I guess, is the crux of the discussion. But I don't think that necessarily. I don't think that I believe in unconditional love. I feel like I get what people are getting at, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I don't believe in unconditional love because like that shit can just get dangerous real quick.
Yeah, I feel
Yep.
that.
It's
It
not
can turn
even
into
in the
something
sense.
else.
Yeah, it's not even a sense of. I think humans are capable of unconditional love, but I think that's not a good thing in a sense. Like,
Okay. I'm stepping in with you shit,
I
man,
think
nigga.
I think people are capable of it, but I think why it's not a good thing is because it can become abusive really quick and toxic really fast.
Yeah. It makes you compromise your moral compass in a way.
Completely.
I feel like if you exuberate unconditional love in every aspect, like I saw people in the comments talking about like their kids, their relationships, if that's what you do, there's no, I don't think that you're hitting all of the bullet points like to meet your specific needs by doing that.
Right.
At all.
And
And
the thing about that too is that when I seen the comment where people were bringing up their kids and shit, and it's like I don't really feel as if, me personally, I don't really feel as if I could speak towards that, because I ain't got no fucking kids, so I don't know like how that feels.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know, man.
Well,
if my kid does some like kill somebody type shit is fuck that baby.
Yeah,
to me.
well,
Depending on baby.
So that's actually leading perfectly into where we're getting at here. I'm gonna let you start going through yours, but we're gonna get into family dynamics and those things because that was the big. I think that was the biggest thing that people were saying.
I think there's so many, when it comes to unconditional love, there's so many factors that play a part. And one thing that I think a lot of people that can relate to, not necessarily with relationships, but when it comes to family dynamics, in a sense of, I think there's more factors for you to excuse maybe you have a toxic family. It's more factors to excuse that and be like, no, it's unconditional love there because we're taught that, like, you know, blood over
Blood is
everything.
thicker than
That's what I was
water.
going to say.
Thicker than water.
And then
That's
the
what
thing
I was
too-
going to say. Is that I feel like I completely agree with Alan's position in the sense that, like, unconditional love, I think, is a thing, but I don't think that thing is worth it a lot of the time because it can license itself to some, like, abusive traps. I think that I think the thing that I think of when I think of unconditional love is that concept that, like, somebody could be not your favorite person, someone in your family could, like, be bad to you or, like, have been through bad experience, and at the end of the day it's still love because that's my family or because that's somebody who's close to me, which that can be true in a colloquial sense. Like, I don't think I'd wish the worst for someone. I don't think there's anyone in my family who I'm wishing the worst for as a product of shit that's happened to me before. But like you said, if there's that expectation there that there's that love over everything, then that love comes with certain stipulations. Meaning that, like, if it is love over everything, then we should be talking, we should be communicating, we should be having some sort of, like, close relationship.
Love is the action at the end of the day.
It is.
And if you are forced to still do those things, despite the fact that you don't want to do those things out of a matter of, oh, it's still love above everything else, then
That's
you are
settling.
accepting abuse for the sake of fitting into a standard.
And I think a lot of people can't deep what you just said. A lot of people, that triggers a lot of people. It's because we are not allowed as young men, young black men, but also just, like, people in general, especially young people in general that deal with these different family dynamics. Because y'all know we go through a lot of shit, and we'll get into it in a second. I think people are not allowed vulnerability, right? They can't. They are not able to become or to be vulnerable within themselves or self-evaluate and be vulnerable enough to say, okay, I'm in a situation with my family where I feel as though I'm not being valued, or my thought process or something's not being valued to the extent of, like, I don't know if I can value you over someone like J.J. Allen, right? And that pisses a lot of people off initially. Like, if I say right now, I value everybody on this couch more than people in my family, a lot of people would get really triggered by that. But it's because I've been able to get to a point where I'm very comfortable with being vulnerable about the things that happened to me as a child and my situation. To the extent of I don't allow those things to cloud I don't allow judge anymore to cloud my judgment, or the whole blood thing to cloud my judgment out of who you are as an individual person.
Right.
And
that's the reality.
I think that the thing that annoys me is that it feels like, in an effort to kind of maintain this expectation of unconditional love, sometimes you, like, in an effort to maintain that, you kind of, like, not just, like, let certain shit slide, because there's a productive way to, like, love somebody, but it's also like you kind of saddled with all the guilt of shit that was not in your control.
Yes,
I think
we're about to talk about that as well.
A big thing. Hold on, what were you finna say? Because
I was gonna say that, like, with the unconditional love type shit, I don't believe it, even when it comes to family as well, is because, like, there's a couple of women that I know that have been abused by their, like, family members.
Yeah.
And it's like, you still gonna have unconditional love for that person?
I'm not gonna apply this.
You're more likely to.
What I'm about to say is, I'm not gonna apply this to every situation, but most. I think unconditional love is almost an excuse for you to not set boundaries. And I'll say that from, like, my personal
I'm hearing you.
I'll say that with my personal experience, right? Like, with me dealing with my family is pretty toxic, and, like, I remember just growing up, like, no matter how they would do me crazy or anything, I would still go back and be like, hey, bro, we still cool. No matter how many times they did me crazy. And the narrative I would roll with was like, bro, these my family. At the end of the day, I have no one else.
Yeah.
But it's like at the same time, like, I got this nigga Matt I'm talking to every single day, but I'm worried about these people that I don't give a fuck. But it's like, I'm running with this narrative because I wasn't, even though I was young, I couldn't set boundaries and really be like, yo, like, y'all are fucked up for
Yeah.
doing that. No, I just
And once
kept
you
running
express
back.
yourself and
I
how you
was
feel,
gonna
now
say-
they coming at you
I
like you
was
being
gonna say,
disrespectful.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Speak
say
to that,
that's my
JJ.
thing is that like the thing about it is that is the number one source of that guilt because I feel like that expectation of unconditional love and sticking with people around you through thick and thin, it leads itself to that meaning regardless of how they like do you and treat you. And if you reach that point where at any given time you reach like the age or the consciousness or the maturity to be like, okay, there's this thing that y'all do and it makes me uncomfortable, and at this point I want to set that boundary, keep that away from me, and try to like heal from that.
Yeah.
You're immediately saddled with the guilt of, okay, well, what if my parents are older? What if they pass away? What if I miss XYZ? What if all types of other shit, right? And that's the hardest thing to get over when it comes to like trying to find those boundaries for yourself. And I don't think that if you continuously like buy into and try to practice that unconditional love, that you'll be in the best position to escape some of that shit without carrying that guilt. I think about it so much, and I'm like, if something happened to a family member of mine at any given day, there's no control that I could have over that.
Yeah.
But one of the main things that'll really keep you wanting to maintain a relationship with somebody, even if they don't have your interest at heart, is like, well, what if something happens
Yeah.
to them or whatever? And that's a very normal feeling to have.
It is.
But you have to find a balance between allowing that to shape it and allowing the fact that you still need to set your own boundaries
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
shape what you do.
I
And that
think
builds that dependency.
and I want to speak to guilt in a second, but back to boundaries. Like, I feel like if there was one thing that I did very, very young was start and learn to set boundaries, and that pissed so many people in my family off, like horribly. Like even in terms of like I think something that I think a tell for a lot of people and a lot of parents to look out for their younger children, teenagers, adolescents, etc. And obviously you're in this period where you're very riled up on a whole bunch of shit when you're a teenager, but
Hormones.
hormones, yeah. But I think
a lot of these parents out here, you think you
but
know
not
your
even
child.
hormones. Yeah,
You think you know
could be
your
all
child,
types
you do
of
not
shit.
know your
Yeah,
child.
that's what I was saying.
We
It could
gonna
be
speak on that.
environment. It could be all that. We was riled up on all types of shit. And I think a tell for a lot of those things though is when your kid starts to say certain shit like moving out. Like I remember I started first mentioning moving out when I was like 15, right? And as much as I feel like there is a way that you take offense, I see a argument for taking offense to this as a parent, right? Because like a lot of kids want to move out just out of spite. A lot of kids just want to get out their parent house because y'all don't let me do what the fuck I want to do. Okay, cool, whatever. But I think there's something deeper there, and that's the thing that we need to get to, right? It's understanding that right there, I think, is the waving that white flag or the red flag of being like, okay, your child's looking for boundaries. There's somewhere in this connection that you and this child has, whether it's in the household, in your relationship, with the relationship that they have with their family, etc. Something there is asking for boundaries enough to the point where they would want to leave the house to not be there with you. Instead of getting upset about this person saying that, that's when you need to ask the why. That's when you need to start figuring out, okay, what's the thing? And I feel like even for me, that could have benefited me. That would have helped me, especially now. Well, we'll get into what you're saying.
I was going to say, I want you to speak on your experiences because what you just said right there, because a lot of parents can't take themselves, they can't take an outside perspective outside themselves because they're so hell bent on the fact of, I made this life for you. You're my child. You're a reflection of me. So therefore, it's hard for me to see you as a person because I took care of you.
Yeah.
Right.
In his case, the biggest sign, this nigga was working 2 jobs at 17 and was working doubles. But I remember being on the game with him. This nigga is there from morning to like night working there just to leave the house.
Right after nigga get off
Insane,
school.
bro.
Shit.
And then it's like, I want you to speak on your experience.
So with that, right? I'm getting off the bus. It's 3:30. It's 3:30 p.m. I'm getting out of school. I'm getting
Straight for
home at
work.
3:30 p.m. Yeah. I'm getting off the bus, straight changing my clothes. I got to work at like 4, right? the reason for that, and the reason being, like, I always look back on it, right? My relationship with my parents has always been, I would say, a good relationship, honestly. Like, me and my dad got a really good relationship. Me and my mom got a really good relationship. But I will say, I think my parents, and I think a lot of people could attest to this, I think my parents, bro, are a part of the generation of, like, the kids don't speak, kids don't have an opinion, kids don't have a say in certain things. Kid, like, even like shit. I remember my dad, loved my dad, but I remember my dad would like get mad at us for like telling my mom what we wanted to eat from the grocery store. And I remember growing up and being like, I get what he's saying, like, we picky. And then I remember getting older and be like, wait, nigga, what? We can't have what we want to eat,
like,
my
the
nigga.
thing
Shit.
that pisses me off too
You
is
feel
like
me?
sometimes you would ask your parents for certain shit and they would make like a big deal over it.
Yeah.
And then you get older and you're like, this shit was like $5.
And I get it, right? My dad grew up.
God
Grew up in Cabrini Green, right? He
Right.
grew up in a project, so I understand that there was a different way that he lived. He didn't get to tell his mama what they was gonna eat. He didn't get to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But also, nigga, that was the whole point of why y'all moved us to the suburbs, right?
Yeah.
So we have those better options, those more choices. So
that
just
brought
growing
on
up in
trauma.
general
I think
was
that's the
just
reason
a
why-
fucking.
I think the reason why I fundamentally don't vibe with the concept of unconditional love is because I feel like people expect that, but they don't do unconditional like self-improvement.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Exactly.
You have to like
Real.
You have to become. I feel like the number one failure for a lot of parents is that people get to a certain age and assume their job learning is done.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like no, you can always have.
You're
that
still
self-
aging.
I seen someone, I forget who it was, but they're on some podcast. I seen a clip on Instagram and they were talking about how like people assume that like if you yell at your kid and give them a direction and they say yes ma'am, yes sir, and they shut up and they do it, that means like that's a good kid and that they're just following directions.
No.
And then a kid who asks you why or why don't you ask someone else to do it or whatever is rebellious.
Yeah.
It don't got no manners. it's
That
talking
was
outside
like
their neck.
story of my
And
life.
It's like
Mhm.
what you're doing is you're discouraging your child from talking and questioning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how the fuck is your child going to understand where you're coming from at all if you can't have a dialogue with your child?
Yeah.
And that is
And that affects-
that little thing
Boy.
is made in a lot of households. It happened in my household as well, and that could be the beginning of a lot of rifts between you and your child.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the point where you get where it's a hostile enough a relationship where like having people in the crib or like even people like address the issue of like when your kid gets old enough and they start like having sexual partners and everything. How you deal with that is always going to be a dicey situation, especially as a parent. I don't think that I'm going to have every single right answer on that. But one thing I do want to ensure is that my kid and I don't have a standoffish relationship in that conversation to the point where like you'd rather be out of my house doing some
Right.
shit.
Yeah.
And
as
that
opposed
shit-
to
Like,
feeling
nigga,
like
That
so
shit happened.
that
That
was
shit
the
happened to
worst-
me a lot,
That
bro.
nigga, that was
Bro,
the story of
it's
my
like-
fucking life, bro.
And I don't think parents understand like that affects kids
Yes.
to like
I-
their old age too. Cause
Yeah.
that affected me so much to where like I don't talk to people like that.
Yeah.
I don't like, I kind of shell myself because it's like, why am I asking questions?
Yeah.
Because I feel as if somebody answers me in a wrong way, now I feel like I did something wrong.
Yeah.
Or something. It's just
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah.
bro.
Like,
I feel
it's
that.
weird.
I feel
big
that.
like it's so crazy because with me it's like my mom had me at 17, so it's like
Speak to that.
we grew up together. She really grew up with me.
Figuring
But
it
it's like I think that was so traumatic that like she just genuinely couldn't get past that in a sense of like she was the woman, she was the man of the house. So in a sense, it's like, no, nigga, you do what I tell you to do. You don't get to question
Especially
me.
because you
don't
feel
get
that
to
you
do
need
shit.
that, especially, and a lot of
Yeah.
women feel that they need that like hard-nosed style type of parenting because you're raising them without a father,
you're
without
raising
that.
a guy without a father, and then you're
Yeah.
also like at a certain point, it literally was you were all she had.
Yeah.
And
Then you make that dependency. Like, even a thing with like not having a father in the house. Like, my mom would do this thing where like she would walk past me and she would like punch me in the chest or like punch me in the back or smack the shit out of me and be like, yeah, like you just gotta toughen up for the world because you don't got no daddy. And like sometimes
real.
like even to this day, like when like they like come close to me, I get like a little like bothered because it's like I'm so used to a motherfucker coming and smacking the shit out of me because you trying to toughen me up for the world.
Yeah.
And
It's
I was
like,
gonna say,
no.
and if we can that goes back to what I was talking about like continuous self-improvement, because our mom did a similar thing, not in that way, but I remember because Matt had his dad and all the other three of us did not. So I remember my mom having that conversation with me at one point, being like I can't really raise you, I can't teach you how to be a man, whatever, because obviously I'm not that, right?
Yeah.
And in a lot of our communities, especially in Black communities and in a lot of our households, that's kind of like common knowledge. It's just expected. It's like, there's no woman's going to teach you how to be a man, da-da-da.
Yeah.
And they might hit you and toughen you up because that's what she's assuming, like, a man is. These are the lessons I got to impart on my son.
Yeah.
The issue is, and like I say, the self-improvement piece is that we forget. We look at so many things through such a gendered lens that you forget that there's a human underneath all of that.
Yeah.
So when you come to me as my parent and say there's nothing I can teach you about being a man, or when you come to your parent and you come to your kid and the only influence you have for like how a man would raise you is the physical harm, toughen up, XYZ, you've just now reduced the potential of like what your kid can be, because you're essentializing qualities that apply to men or women and assume that my role is I can't teach you that. There's nothing about being a woman that would also translate well in being a man that I can teach you right now.
Yeah.
And you don't even believe that, because I pick that shit up from you every day when it comes to caring for the
Exactly.
house, when it comes to doing all that shit or whatever. If you actually put it on paper, there are a lot of qualities that you possess as a person
those things
that can rub off on me. But your decision to handicap that or to deliberately only like fail to like adjust your broaden your understanding of what it means, like what that could imply for my son, and I'm gonna reduce it down to violence, get tough for the world. You ain't got that. Like, that's one of those things where it's like, of course you're going to create that divide. And if I'm to come back and be like, okay, despite everything, I want to show love to you because unconditional, I can still show love to you, but do I gotta be around you?
Yeah.
Right.
Do I have to call you?
And,
Do I have to?
And if that cheapens your perspective on whether or not you think I love you, like who's right and who's wrong in that scenario?
I think what it is you have not been able to get to the root of the issue. The root of the issue is not the now. The root of the issue is that past, is that buildup of like how niggas was raised.
Yeah, and
niggas, you can't expect us to then backtrack and forget all of that.
You know what
shit
it is?
Because we haven't talked to mom in a week.
I feel like
You feel what I'm
everyone. I
saying?
feel like everyone understands that concept, but it immediately gets forgotten when it's put in the context of like family.
Yeah.
Like
everybody gets it. Yeah. Literally.
Everybody understands the concept of like, regardless of what it is like I feel about you, or like if I say I love you or not, I have to react to this thing. It's a trap that people fall in, even when they talk about like Black issues, where like someone will be loud or someone will be rowdy or a crime will happen and we'll be like, oh my God, all these people committing crimes,
Yeah.
But you don't think about like why.
The why, the what happened.
Right? So
before,
what you're doing is you're blaming niggas for reacting to a thing.
Yeah.
In the same way that like I can only have at minimum a few days to ruminate on whatever fuck shit you said to me, because then at the end of the day I got to get back to my job of maintaining a relationship with my parent.
Yeah.
But you're the one who sets that dynamic.
Yeah.
You birthed me.
You birthed me.
And that is so important, because literally I get so tired of like the whole parent shit of like talking about things that happened in the past and you're like, oh no, let that go. Like, why are you holding that? No, nigga, in order for our relationship to develop, we have to go through that.
Also the gaslighting.
We're not
The amnesia.
The immediate gaslighting of like
Amnesia.
I tried my hardest and I did the best I could do, and no one's saying. I always used to tell my mom this, bro. I'd be like, Mom, no one's saying that you didn't try your hardest. You didn't try your best, right? You don't get a book on how to parent. And I know a lot of parents, right, are probably seething at this fucking right now, because that's what they feel. Like, this is the first time I had a kid. This is the first time that we get this. So I understand you don't get a book. In that same breath, though, there comes that self-reflection. No one gets a fucking book on how to live life.
Right.
On how to deal
But
with
you do have to deal
Yeah.
with the consequences of your actions. And then you trying to then gaslight me or throw it back into my face that you move me out of the, like my parents, me and my mom used to argue about that shit. Like, her moving us to the burbs, right? And I always just be like, why the fuck did you move us to the burbs if we was gonna be broke? Like, and that sounds crazy, right? But my thought process on it, right, growing up, was I was like, okay, we have no money. Like, we have no money.
Yeah.
My sister got to be in college. She got a hella money in student loans. Cool. She in college doing her thing. My brother, he's older than me. He got to be in college too. He got hella money in loans coming out. Cool. I don't even know what I want to do in college, so I'm probably not going to go to college. I'm probably not going, you know what I mean, save a little money. Then I'm getting yelled at because, oh, you don't want to go to college. We moved you out here for a better da-da-da-da-da-da. And then my reaction as a child was like, okay, well, if we didn't have money and there wasn't no real plan, it was just like everybody got to be Einsteins and then get big scholarships, which I fucking didn't. What was the plan? What's the purpose? What's after that? You know what I mean? Like,
And
okay, what's the point of moving us out of the city where we could afford to moving us to a place where we moved into a place where the median household income at the school I was going to was $120K. Nigga, we was making under 50. You feel what I'm saying? In a 5-person household with 2 children in college. There's nothing for me, my nigga. There was nothing, and that came from, right, there's that why. That came from a place of anger, yes, but more so than anger, it came from a place of just like confusion, questioning. I don't know this shit.
And through that literally goes to the beginning of when you have someone constantly on you of like, oh, they don't self-reflect, so it goes into well, I built this life for you. I did.
The reaction has to come from nowhere because I didn't self-reflect. It's always blindsiding when you never gave a thought about how your words can impact.
Which is telling because in 21 years, you never gave a thought about how certain things you said, did, like reacted, affected JJ.
I have an example.
Like,
I have an example of that, but continue.
And through that,
save it.
There it goes of you shut off and you can't set those boundaries.
Yeah.
And what after that is the guilt that comes after.
Yeah.
What I
We'll
wanted
talk
to
about
ask
the guilt,
y'all was like y'all personal experience and the guilt y'all felt dealing with y'all families, especially like being in the position we're in now.
Here, speak to what you were saying and then I can
get into that. So the thing that I was thinking about, like as an example, I'm like, all right, so people don't think about yelling, right? Because I remember it only took me having a girlfriend one time who was like, yelling makes me uncomfortable. Could you please not yell? For me to like completely look at how I like yelling at people differently and make a conscious. I never really yelled that much before. I yelled normally because I'm loud, but like I didn't really yell at people or like have screaming matches unless it was with this nigga.
Playing the game and shit.
I remember this shit. Sock baseball, nigga.
Nigga got dangerous, nigga. Throwing full speed in
Literally
20 feet baseball.
Like
motion.
nigga, they would
Like literally.
By the time you land, you halfway
We would be
to the
standing
plate
right
already.
here. The nigga would be like right at that curtain, right behind him, just full motion. Yeah,
Throwing that bitch.
we be hitting that shit.
When we
be
setting
hitting
that
motherfucker,
bitch.
setting that bitch.
But when we was playing, that's like one thing, us being competitive and yelling and everything. But when it came to that, I knew that I knew I was really amicable to what she said to me when she was like, "You please not yell," because I remembered as a kid, I really didn't fuck with that because my OG, and we're Jamaican. Us three are
Jamaica.
So that yelling in that house be something. You can ask any Jamaican.
Boy.
Any
Oh
Jamaican,
my God,
they're going
boy.
to yell, nigga. It's the happiest day of the year. They're yelling. It doesn't matter.
Game over.
Nigga,
Game ruined.
You always knew, nigga.
I'd be on the game with these niggas, bro. I'd hear JJ be in the most happiest mood. You'd be like, yeah, all you heard about JJ.
No, it wasn't even
Joshua.
that.
Oh, it was
wasn't
Joshua.
even that. I would be sitting there minding my own beeswax as a kid or whatever, just chilling. I hear from the depths of hell in that house, Joshua! I said, all right, today's over.
Yeah, it's over.
I said, all right,
I'm
today's
like,
over. I'm cleaning the room.
Let's turn the game
I'm
on.
cleaning the
It's over.
room. I'm
This
doing
nigga
the
be like,
laundry, or I'm cutting the grass, or I'm going to bed. Like,
And if not, you sit on the game, right? Let's get into the guilt. But if not, right, you sit on the game,
and then
and then you just get the you don't do
it gets worse.
like
So I
Just
remember
ringing, bro.
So I remember.
PTSD.
I remember that being like a thing constantly in the household. And while overtly there is not anything wrong with being upset that your kids won't do a thing or might not be listening.
Yeah, we was
to you.
lazy. I was
so
lazy.
I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't even say that. I don't believe in like laziness the same after I took sociology. Saying you're fucking lazy at big age 12 is crazy.
You're not wrong.
You ain't got shit to do, but
You ain't got no fucking
sleep
agency,
shit.
nigga. You don't even,
I feel like-
you don't even
I
put
feel like
lotion
we
on your
wasn't-
elbows, nigga.
I feel like we wasn't.
Everyone
I feel like
has
we
their
were the best kids, but I think think in terms of like
was a
Jamaican
terrible
parents, I feel like, but Jamaican parents, I feel like they
From the
focus on, like,
Jamaican standard.
cleaning and like shit like that. So we were like,
Which
we're
is
not
crazy
cleaning.
to say now, even though like I fold my clothes and all types of shit. That shit has just been kind of ingrained in me, even though I hated doing it at the time because like at a certain point you had to do it.
Nigga, you had to threaten me from
And you
me.
gotta look
Yeah,
at the way they
that's
grew
what
up too, because back in Jamaica, them niggas
My
they was
mom-
doing
Yeah, they
My
was doing
mama would
shit, yeah.
justify
Grown shit at the age of
so
nine.
I was gonna say, and then we'll get into the guilt. My mama would justify the things that she would like yell at us about and not doing around the house with the fact that like at age 13 in Jamaica, she was cooking for the entire family and cleaning the entire house at the behest of her mother the moment that they'd ask. And I'm like,
that's slavery.
I understand that struggle. That's not a healthy thing that you
One
should do
that
to your
line.
kid.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey, one, you're probably lying.
all the parents. I'm sorry, all the parents.
I was
that
walking
be like,
up and
I
down
was the best kid in the way. If my mama told me I was in the house immediate, stop.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think
Like,
I'm gonna be so real.
Y'all niggas was not like that.
Your mama
bro.
wasn't lying because nigga, she can throw down. Like,
No,
that's
no,
not
no,
like-
no.
That's like years.
My mama was not lying about certain things because
no,
that's
they was
it's just like me
cooking.
folding them clothes, nigga. You
They
get
was
used
definitely
to it.
cooking, but I mean, they was definitely cooking. But I mean the
Nah, I know what
concept
you
of
mean.
that,
That's
like
bullshit,
my parents
I
be
used
acting
to
like they
walk
weren't
50
kids.
miles
Yeah,
Yeah.
that maybe
No.
you were, but it
But
was
like-
definitely
but like-
with some back talk.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
but like you would
For
also
sure.
tell me like the beef that you and Granny would get into and all type of shit or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it wasn't smooth sailing.
Fuck no.
Because I don't think
It
I
never
see
is.
for me as a father walking in the house and like screaming my head off about the fact that my 12-year-old has not cleaned the crib and prepared dinner for the family. That's not our time. I
Yeah.
just can't see that as something that I do. So my OG would like be constantly like on our backs about certain things. And it would get to the point where it's like, okay, at a certain point, you tired of hearing somebody mouth. Everyone gets to that point in the household when you're still living with somebody where you're tired of hearing somebody mouth. Then you realize that, like, okay, the world is opening up. The world is opening up really fast. And you could do something new with, like, not new because me and y'all have been doing the same thing for years, but you could, like,
new to
bank
them.
on this shit and do it. You obviously don't have, like, the support system trying to figure out what it is you want to do, right? Yeah. So you make that decision. And in the middle of that is where the shutdown happened.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I done told you multiple times, like even when we were kids and she'd come in the house and like yell about something that we didn't do or like about dishes or something, whatever. I'd even level with her and tell her like, I understand that we didn't do it and yeah, we should be better about that. But also if you come in every single time and you scream about how we don't do anything, and you don't even know if I was going to wash some dishes that day either way before you came in and said something, it immediately kills my vibe and does not make me want to do anything.
Yeah, it's
Right.
And I know like that might not sound the best, right? Someone said you got to do something, you got to do it even if you don't like it, cool. But if I as a kid am vibing, having my day, and then I'm like, damn, this room is a little bit dirty. All right, let me put my shit together and clean it so I can feel good. And then you walk in the house
midst
and be
of
like, you're nasty
cleaning.
ass and not clean. Why do I always got to? That's going to kill my vibe.
Yeah.
So then the shutdown happens because I'm like, okay, I tried to set that boundary with you. At the minimum, when I'm telling you that, the charitable interpretation is like, okay, let me not scream at the nigga when I tell him.
I was gonna say, I think what it is,
And there was not a strategy approach. So then, like, what am I left to do?
it's understanding who your children are as well, right? With someone like JJ, right, who doesn't like to be yelled at, who doesn't like that. It's understanding who your children are, what they fuck with in terms of like what they're receptive to, like, and if
being ready to talk.
Yeah, and being able to answer those questions, being able to have those conversations and be like, okay, this is why certain things have to happen. Now, like I said, I understand the cleaning. I understand.
I know that's my thing is that like
I like
no,
yeah,
that's my
we
thing
get
is
all of that.
It's the part is not that you shouldn't be asking your children to do things.
Yeah.
Is that you should be asking and talking with your children about certain things.
Even in ways of authority, you can still
you don't gotta
present
be
yourself in a way that
you
is
don't
like,
gotta be a pushover.
you gotta listen to me. You have to listen to me, but also it doesn't have to be me yelling in your fucking face.
And if your
saying you're the
child-
laziest, biggest bum in the world,
because-
and then expecting 5 years later for me to still like call you and love you and etc.
Yeah.
And if your child asks you why they have to do a certain thing, just explain it, bro.
Yes, you can
Just
calmly
explain
explain it in a way that they'll understand and use the brain that you've been gifted as the older person in this scenario. Because when you don't, what decision am I gonna make as a kid that's the path to I'm going to try to go the path of least resistance.
Yeah, I think that's what shapes all of us.
Yeah,
Literally. That's why we're
literally.
Because I'm not trying to like hear all that, and I know that certain things are important to me, like cleaning my room, like folding clothes, like washing dishes, like making sure I don't stink. I know that those things are important to me because you've done your job in reinforcing them at me. At a certain point, I want to go the path of least resistance because you've shown that I can't talk to you and get a productive outcome. So I'll choose not to talk then.
Yeah.
And then you have to live with the guilt of choosing not to talk.
Yeah. So let's get into guilt. Let's get into guilt.
Damn.
Then you have
we
to
turn to
yes.
a question for you.
Yeah.
And you talk about it if you don't want to, but this is something that like bothers me all the time when I see you. Like when it comes to like the whole thing with eating, like and how like y'all parents like really like
Influenced
forced that.
Yeah.
I was
And
gonna say
it's like affected you
Nigga,
to this day.
I remember, oh my God, it's been so many times where like there would be something that my mom or my grandma would make, and I would like, yo, I'm not eating that, and I would be forced to eat that shit.
that's what I was
like,
gonna say.
bro.
So I hate the concept that I really wish so many people were in a position and more comfortable enough to like analyze things that happen in their childhood, because I see people make excuses for certain behavior and be like, well, I turned out good. That's okay.
Yeah.
You only think that because you haven't questioned actually how you've turned out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You haven't actually
You're not good,
evaluated.
nigga.
You've
You're
not
not
been
good.
honest. I seen niggas defending like the fact that they got their ass beat as a kid. It
Yeah.
was when
I was getting beat by. I be saying that. I was
when
getting
I
beat
was
by that, and
when
I
I
be
was
telling
in
niggas,
college as a
shit not cool.
justification that certain people would use for like certain things, like, all right, bro, you know, I mean, it is what it is, a discipline, and you had to go through it. I'm like, yeah, but have you asked yourself yet how that actually affected your relationship with your parents?
Yeah.
Because I can tell you one thing. With me, it's a thing in Jamaican households a lot of the time that just kind of make like outlandish comments about people. Usually, like they'll go a long time without seeing you, and the first thing they'll say is, "Oh, you're gaining weight.
You fat as hell."
Which
Yeah,
that's not
crazy. Nah.
Good. You're still not supposed to say that to people.
I ain't seen his mom in like 2 years. First time I saw her, she was like, "Your face is fat."
Your face. So
What?
And right.
It's fuck me.
Right. It's cute. It's funny. It's laughy, jokey, right? When you compile that with like, okay, well, we didn't really have money for real, so whatever I'm cooking, you're going to eat it, even if it's like liver and that shit is bile. You eat
Shit is
liver,
like
I don't trust
acid,
you.
nigga.
I like
I'd never
liver.
eat
You
that.
like
Growing
liver?
up, I
don't
like
trust
liver.
you.
Hell
Liver, I don't think I had liver.
Liver
Every
is
time I've eaten liver, I
cooked
throw
liver,
up.
though?
When you cook
I
the
throw
liver,
up,
yeah,
yes,
you
every
liked
time.
it.
I used to bust that.
Dude,
I didn't want to be in the house when they
liver
cooked.
and dumpling.
It's probably it's like
No.
it's like the closest things Jamaicans get to
Dumpling
chilling.
and sawfish,
In my
I'll do that.
Dumpling and saltfish, good. Aki and saltfish. I didn't
Boiled
eat aki.
banana.
Never had
Boiled
aki.
banana, good. Fucking liver, hell. Why would we
Callaloo.
ever put that? Callaloo, good. Why the fuck are we putting liver on a plate? I don't want to be inside when you're cooking that shit.
No, you're getting creative with your poverty.
Yeah.
That is like,
Jelly,
no.
you put the jelly
The
on the
thing
on
is,
the
too,
dumpling.
like liver.
Get the liver on the side.
Hell no.
Who ate
The
jelly
thing,
with dumpling on the liver?
Jelly
You.
dumpling, liver on the side.
fuck
Who
no.
I can't side.
The thing
you
with
just
liver,
failed my whole shit.
yeah, hell yeah. The
Alan,
thing with
do not
liver
try
is that
liver.
like it's like a disguise, because when they cook it, it don't even smell like liver
This is the thing.
until you ate that
True,
shit.
it don't smell like liver, and then you cut that motherfucker, or no, then you bite in that motherfucker, and it's straight
Tough?
tendons, nigga.
Yeah.
Straight-
You can't
motherfucker.
chew through that motherfucker.
Because it's
and
like,
it smell
it's like an
yeah.
organ, nigga. That shit.
Yeah. So I remember even when she would make that, and I'm like, I don't want to eat. You know, it's just the little shit. You know, you want as a kid. Cool. But like when you constantly reinforce certain things and certain messages as a kid, that's why you have to watch that shit. The same thing we talk about joking, laughing, and joking. Yeah, if you stand next to a Nazi and you ha ha he he, and it's only a matter of time before a kid thinks that like it's cool to be ha he in with the Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids don't got that much nuance and shit yet. So if you consistently reinforce these views that like, all right, what I'm eating is an issue. If I'm not eating it, it's an issue. If I'm not finishing the food, it's an issue. The type of food is an issue. The weight gain is an issue. All types of shit, right? Then I'm gonna start thinking it's a goddamn issue.
Yeah.
So now I look around nowadays and I'll barely finish my food.
Yeah.
Or I'll like have a very strict like amount of things that I want to eat. I won't want to be explorative like in it, and I'm best at eating like home cooked Jamaican dishes. Big fucking shocker, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that like you don't think about, but these niggas have had to monitor it and like navigate it as my friends, because before we even moved to Chicago, it was a joke. It was a punchline. It was like, this
Yeah.
nigga Jay don't never finish his food.
Yeah.
And every time they're saying that, I'm like, y'all niggas don't understand.
Yeah.
Do you think that I don't fuck with the food, or do you think that I'm trying to be a nuisance, or like all type of shit? And that's all thought process that you have to be a grown ass man to admit to yourself that you're having. And you have to be a grown ass man to admit yourself where that could have been coming from.
That unconditional love in that instance will literally cloud your judgment.
So it's like, well, then what do I do out of the nice nurturing and trying to avoid that guilt in case anything happens to my parents or grandparents who are older and anything, in order to try to avoid that guilt, what do I do then? I have to call it and be like, okay, well, they did piss me off about that thing in the past, but let me let it go. What if I'm not ready to let it go?
Talking about that guilt.
What if I'm not ready to let it go?
Talking
How can you tell me to be ready to?
And it's affecting your everyday life.
Talking about that guilt. Talking about that guilt. I think even dealing with where we are now, right? We have the Jaam. We are at the most successful all of us have been in our careers of what we're doing. And
I'll think about this shit a lot.
Yeah,
so
you think about this shit a lot.
That like envelop it. It's like, damn, I want to help.
There's anger, there's fucking sadness, there's loneliness, there's
Survivor's
so
guilt.
many survivors. Yeah, there's so many different things, right? And it's like, you feel all of these things in that same breath, right? I don't think my parents could name to y'all what the Jaam is, or like the name of the Jaam, right?
So it's not
And
like the
that's
shit is
the dynamic.
done.
Yeah,
it's not like
I
let it go
don't
'cause it's
love
in the
my
past.
mom. It's not like I hate my parent, but it's like it's dealing with every single feeling that comes with this shit. On top of like the guilt of like, damn, like I do want to take care of these people. I do fuck with these people. I do love these
They
people.
didn't even believe in
But
it.
where do I
Exactly.
where do I push the boundaries of what I will allow as a man
It
in
feels
my
like
life?
you have to constantly have an infinite capacity.
Yeah.
Like you have to have
For people that
you have-
that never had an infinite capacity for you. Who don't?
Talk
You
about
have to constantly try to mediate how you feel about it, trying to let go, trying to make sure you maintain a relationship, also trying to juggle your own shit, also trying to do XYZ. And it's not to say that your parents didn't have to do that too, cool. But also like your words and your impact and your actions have results, have consequences. So like you can't put me on a time
There's
scale
some
where I'm
more-
supposed to be okay with the certain shit.
exactly.
I feel like it was dead it's comical every time I think about it. I think like the more I like move up in this shit, the more isolated I am with like my family. It's like the craziest concept. Like when I moved here, or not moved to Chicago, but we moved to our new apartment recently, and I'm happy as hell. I'm like, bro, let me show my OG. The guy call her, she like was just like, oh, well, that's cool, but like I'm gonna be busy, can't visit. And I'm like, wow, bro. And I'm like,
It's like at what point
And
in
then
your
you
life-
wonder like
At what-
why
so
niggas
I
don't
know,
call,
I
bro.
noticed that a lot of older people will say, and then probably will get some of these comments, and they'll be like, "No, I felt a lot of these ways at your age too, but at a certain point, you gotta like let go, and you gotta like find X, Y, Z, blah blah." Right? Again, and I feel it. Like at what point?
Yeah.
Because what if it doesn't stop?
Yeah.
Like,
What-
am I
what if-
supposed
what
to
if-
now,
what if
did I-
you're-
did I go through the entire storm, and now within 2 years of leaving and getting the chart who I think I want to be as a person, do I now need to turn around and immediately mend that? What
For
if
the
thay
people that-
still doing some of the
for the
similar
people that say
behaviors
shit
2
like
years
that,
post?
though.
Now I got to turn around and mend that too. Like
For the
when
people
does
that
it
say
end?
shit like that though, therapy's been around since before we were 21 years old.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Why didn't they-
When I
why
was
didn't they
growing
go to
up and people,
therapy?
when I was growing up, bro, and my brother was going through depression, and I was going through depression. There was so many different aspects of life that was beating up on niggas. It was, y'all gonna hate me. Sit on that prayer line. Talk to God about it. Because that's all it was. It wasn't no therapy. You're not going to go get fucking therapy, Matt. You don't need therapy.
Because it wasn't enforced. There was not a therapy-friendly
ADHD,
household.
nigga, I've been like undiagnosed, self-diagnosed with ADHD for years since I was a child.
Bro, I got
Because-
something. I don't know what the fuck I got.
so I had my granny used to work with a lot of kids with ADHD or just special needs in general, just a whole bunch of different like on the spectrum, neurodivergent, all types of shit, right? She self-diagnosed me when I was like, I think I was like young, and someone else in my family has it, right? Has like a few things, right? So she self-diagnosed me, right? She was like, yeah, you guys should get it checked out, etc. It was a big thing, big blow up art, big whole thing because like,
Which is so crazy.
no, there's nothing wrong with my son. No, there's nothing wrong, which is cool. But then also, you're getting on my ass about school and
No.
shit like that, bro.
But that
Yeah.
right
As
there,
if the shit
that
is
right
not
there,
in
you have
front
to-
of you.
You have to be honest about your reactions to certain things because that I'm sorry, is a wrong answer to give to that situation. Yeah, you're right that there's nothing wrong with your kid. Because if your kid had ADHD, that does not mean that there's anything wrong with your kid. That means that your kid is neurodivergent and they probably need some help.
Yeah, real.
Yeah.
Just like any kid
The
who might
anger
not be
shit.
neurodivergent still
Nigga.
needs help when you're a fucking kid.
Nigga.
But you're like, there's nothing wrong. My kid is normal, which just equates to suffer in silence or
Nigga.
go undiagnosed in silence and have niggas make fun of some shit that you can't control or that's not even a bad thing because you're convinced that you
Growing up,
you
bro,
haven't even like looked into
growing
it like that.
up, bro,
Right.
the anger thing, bro, like that was like, oh, to this day, the anger thing. Oh, Matthew and this anger. Oh, he's always had anger issues. Da 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 da. And I remember being like, okay, like I do got anger issues. I gotta lock in on the shit. And I remember hitting about like 18, 19. And this was when probably like the height of my anger. This was like the height of my anger issues. And I remember like sitting back one day. I remember I was at Chipotle. I was in the fucking parking lot of Chipotle, nigga. I was arguing with my girl because she was talking about like, she was fucking bullshitty. She was just talking about some bullshit. And I was like angry and I'm telling her like certain shit and like you want me to, I was basically making the thing like you want me to be what's the word? Compassionate to your situation, the things you go through, but like I'm telling you this anger shit, and she was like dismissing it, all types of shit. And I remember getting off the phone, I'm sitting there, bro, and I'm like, damn. And I thought about it, and I was like, damn, like everybody in my family, including this motherfucker now, who's getting told by my family members that I'm like some angry ass, like crazy nigga, right? All of these people watched me grow up like this.
And did absolutely
nothing about it. Not a damn thing, bro.
Told
it was
you to pick up a
always
Bible and read it.
You need to stop being angry. You need to control that angry demon. That's what they would say to me.
Angry demon.
You need to control that angry spirit in your body. You need to control that angry demon in your body.
And go pray it out.
And go,
I think
yeah.
fundamentally the
bro.
thing that made me stray away from religion is that autonomy that gets removed from people. Because like you might not have the answer to how to make sure your kid doesn't have anger issues, or if they do, how to address that, right? You could go about that in a variety of ways.
Yeah.
The moment you kind of take your own agency out of it, intentionally so, by being like, all right, it's a you thing, it's a demon. You're preaching to your kid hyper individualism, take control of your anger issues, and your kid isn't really even old enough to process that they have anger issues.
I think the earliest niggas was telling me I have
The only
anger
thing they
issues
have is
had to
you.
been before 10 years old, bro. Like, because I was getting into fights I was getting into fights with my cousins and shit. Like at like 8, 9 years old, like all the time in my granny house. I would throw like crazy ass temper tantrums. I'd be like banging on walls and shit. Like there was a issue there. There was a definite fucking problem there. And we bullshitted.
We bullshit like it's a demon.
We bullshit. I feel like, all right, let's get to this final portion, all right? I want to move it. For the parents that's sitting behind a screen seething right now at everything that we're saying, because we understand that being a parent is hard.
It just sound like y'all got a bunch of badass parents, if you ask me.
And also, right?
Y'all gotta deal with
I know they're
Trump.
look, I know they're gonna say it, right? None of us have kids, so we don't understand. All right.
Nigga, we are the kid.
Let's get to the portion. Let's get to the portion where it's well, I feel like it's all been constructive, but to each their own. Let's get to the portion where it's constructive. What now? What now as parents, as people watching, as people our age? What do y'all have to offer to those groups of people? I'm gonna start with AB.
Listen to your child.
Yeah.
Listen to your child, and if they ask you questions, just answer the questions in probably the most respectful but assertive way that you can.
Listen to actually listen, not listening to respond as well.
Yeah.
And let them speak.
Yeah.
Let them speak. Because me not being, like when I was a kid, I've always thought that whatever came out of my mouth was dumb, stupid. So that caused me to shut down. And I even see it now whenever my girl's talking to me, or if we get like to a little argument or whatever, I just shut down. I don't say nothing. Because I feel as if I say something, it might be stupid, or it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Or
Let your child speak, bro.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think along the same vein is treating children more like people, and that starts with, and it's kind of unrelated but also not, it starts with and I said this the other day, removing every single fucking expectation you have, right? If you don't have kids,
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
We talked about this shit the other
'cause
day.
parent-
Talk about it,
'cause
talk
I
about
can't, I'm not a parent, so maybe you won't listen to me, but if I can tell people our age or people who don't have kids yet, right now you need to let go of every single fucking expectation you're thinking of for your kid.
Yeah.
All that little ha ha he he shit we talked about in grade school with our friends about, I want my kid to be XYZ. I want my kid to do the XYZ. If my kid gay, I'm a XYZ. I want my kid to go get X. Stop.
You're living through your
Nope.
child.
You have
That's
to,
when
you
it
want
starts.
No, that's
Those
when
are
it
the
starts.
planting the seeds. That's planting the seeds. Yeah.
You could
For
keep
sure.
maybe you could keep your list of names as long as you have multiple different options for names. But that setting expectations for what this other human being is
That
going to
isn't
turn
born
out
yet
as
or born.
before they're born will have you blindsided when they're not that. All you niggas who
You
think
want a
that you're-
six, you
it's
want
gonna
a
be the-
6'4" football player. That nigga comes out to be a 5'2" engineer.
And then
Now what do you do?
Now what do you do?
Now it's very hard for you to subconsciously stop yourself from loving them less or doing X, Y, or treating them not in the best way because you had all these things set out for them. Hello, people who are terrified of their son being gay.
Yeah. Real.
let's be
Real.
real.
Because there's a real possibility
There's
that
a
it
real
could happen,
possibility
and
that
then
it
what
could
the
happen,
fuck are you
and
gonna
then
do
what?
in that instance?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
Stop.
adapt.
Stop trying.
You're either gonna have to adapt or you're gonna be a shit ass parent. What do you want to like?
And
What?
you have to
you know the
nip that in the bud right now, because once you have kids, it's one thing. It's very hard to reach certain people and be like, hey, don't live through your kids or whatever, because there are a lot of people who are already in it. But before you get to that point at all, you have to get yourself as close to I'm ready and willing to accept what comes of my child as possible, because that means that if it's some bad shit, then you can have a clearer mind with how to deal with it, and if it's some good shit, then you can have a clearer mind on how to deal with it because you weren't already expecting an outcome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I feel like that could definitely help.
I think
a
Matt
fact.
said it the best, nigga. Don't listen to respond, bro. Like, genuinely just, like, listen to your child. Like, do not be thinking, oh, he's ungrateful. No,
Even if
remove
you don't have an
all
answer.
that.
Yeah.
Like, just
No,
listen.
We got
that's
phones
that.
nowadays.
No.
Listen.
That's
Look up
that.
the answer if you don't got it,
No,
bro.
it should be encouraged for you to admit when you don't have the answer.
yeah,
Because the
literally.
job not finished. You're constantly growing and
Job
you're
finished?
constantly learning. Job finished. Job not finished.
Job not finished.
You still
I think a lot of parents would get more. You wouldn't get put in the position as much to where you're sitting there at 20, or your kids at 20, and you're in your fucking 40s, 50s, 60s. You wouldn't get put in a position where you're like, I wasn't a bad parent. Da, 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 da. If there were more instances when they were younger that you told them, hey, I don't really know the answer to this. I don't really got the answer to this. Because then, even as a kid, there's not that expectation there.
Yeah.
Mom, dad told me all the shit that was gonna happen to me if I didn't go to college, if I didn't get a degree. I was gonna be a bum. I was gonna be a DoorDash driver for the rest of my fucking life, word for word. All of that shit was gonna happen to me. And then here I am at 21. You feel what I'm saying?
No,
what
but
that
I was
creates
gonna
is
say,
resentment.
What that creates
Yeah.
is
Now it's like,
resentment.
okay, I remember
wondering
all
why I
that
don't
shit
call
now.
you.
Going
Now you
back-
wondering why I don't pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
Going
you're
back on
telling
that.
me essentially to figure it out your damn self.
that not listening to your child shit, bro, will like actually cause that isolating thing of like now you don't have a connection with your child. Like what just happened, like I remember I had a conversation with my OG and it was like we were just talking, we got into it, and then it went to a thing of like, okay, well, like you're not listening to me. And then it went to like, oh, well, yeah, you just don't understand anything that's happening to us. And it's like when she said that, I was like that was so heartbreaking because it was like, yo, like at the same time, like I get that. And she's saying like, you have everything. And I'm like, that's cool and all, bro. But like, nigga, I still am a person. I'm still your child. I still have a life. There's so much shit that done happened that I have not told you because you don't listen to me.
Right.
There's shit that done happened when we moved here that no one knows that you don't know because you didn't decide to listen or make that environment for me to come to you. And it's like now you put the nail in the bud of, oh, you just don't understand because you have it.
That's what it's.
You don't get it.
And I was
You
gonna
don't- you're
say
not hearing me,
that's also one of the biggest like instances of like or sources of guilt, because it's like damn, I remember even as a kid watching like how everybody else's relationships with their parents.
Yeah.
And like I'll even like think about it today is like I don't think I have like spotty happy memories with both of my parents individually, but I don't think I could give you 5 happy memories of my parents together.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I remember seeing that like growing up and seeing just the distance that I had as opposed to the distance that other people had. And it's like then you immediately start thinking like, okay, what's wrong with me then? Like, why am I not like? And
As
then
the kid, especially.
and then when that phone does ring, or do you try to make that reach out, and it's like, oh yeah, what's wrong with you? We're not talking.
Yeah.
It's like
Instead of just being like really self-evaluating of like
like
why,
shit.
because let's
That-
not
that-
let's
that-
actually
that's
just
the-
create the paradigm.
That's
who
the
creates
same
the
shit.
dynamic of the relationship? You fucking do.
That's the same shit that ruined the relationship between me and my dad. Is because like when they separated, I think I was in like 5th grade at the time. They
Yeah.
separated, and like it was a point in time where like we would go from his house to back to mom's house and this and that, and then there was a period of time where like we didn't contact him. He stopped calling us or whatever, and then I remember he would call me and ask me why I wasn't calling him
Yeah.
as a
As the father.
grown ass fucking
12,
man.
13, 14-year-old. You're calling me, asking me why I'm not calling you and I'm your child.
Yeah.
You're delusional.
And then
And that's not to say that
I think-
like that's not to say that you at home do this all the
Yeah,
time.
not to
Right.
say that
But
every
that's
parent
the
does this.
shit. That's the shit right there, where it's like, okay, come on. We talk about personal responsibility, Matt. Go figure your shit out.
Yeah.
Alan, you just don't get it. AB, the stuff that you saying is just wrong. X, Y, Z. What about you? What about
the last thing I will say is this, right? To all
Not
the
a single
parents,
thought
to all
of,
the
damn, maybe what I'm saying is incorrect.
this is what I say, right? To wrap it up. Genuinely, bro, I don't think all parents do the things that we've said or stated in this.
contact?
But I do think all parents can benefit from self-evaluation, no matter what point of life you are, no matter what mental state you
all
are.
people. can
All
benefit.
people, yeah, really, all
If
people.
y'all took
can benefit
self-evaluation
from
seriously,
self-evaluation.
Donald Trump wouldn't be president.
That's so
Jesus.
real, bro. That's so real.
Through this trauma, we have the fucking Jaam.
Through this drama, we can talk about
If
it
y'all
with
can
y'all.
relate to any of the shit, bro,
Yeah,
talk
that's
to
the
us in
main
the comments
thing.
about
That's
it
the
for
main
real.
thing. Like, yeah, obviously there's a lot of shit with us. There's also a lot of shit with you, and overall, you should just be able to talk about it.
Yeah,
And
make sure y'all
yeah. So
hit the buttons,
make
hit
sure
all the
y'all
buttons,
hit all the
sub,
buttons you
like,
gotta
If
hit.
y'all want more conversations like this, y'all already know what to do.
Yeah, let us know for
Hashtag Jaam
sure.
Talks. Come on.
Hashtag Jam Talks. Let us know.
Hashtag Jam
We
Talks.
might
Ask
do
us
a whole.
whatever.
I was gonna say we might just start doing because we be getting so many jam comments. We read
So
them
many good
all,
ones.
but obviously we can't put them in every episode. So we might just start doing this, like
Maybe
random,
Patreon
just taking the one and then you know what I mean. Maybe it's
What
some
did you
Patreon content and shit.
Patreon guys.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Thank you guys for
Right
getting it
then.
with us on this special episode of the Jam. Like you said, like, comment, share, subscribe, all the platforms. JJ8. Every
What you on,
platform.
Matt? What you on, Matt?
Soho Studios.
AB the artist, yes sir.
Pay attention to your screens because we always doing something, and there's a drop coming.
Yeah, drop coming soon.
There's a drop coming.
I can't wait for that shit.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna get a shirt finally.
Yes, sir.
Finally.
But thank you guys for kicking it with us. Have an awesome day or night wherever you may be, and see you.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Thank you for watching this long. If you haven't already, subscribe. What is you doing?
What is you doing?
What are you
you
doing?
doing?
You think we just sitting here doing it for nothing?
You think you're gonna sit here and not do
need
shit?
to
Like, hear this shit.
Click that I know you're not subscribed. Click it.
Cool.